a world where the truth isn't always what it seems, real estate masters step forward to help put the E first in the word true. TREU. Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. And now, here's your real estate masters and their host, Tom Blatania.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another beautiful, absolutely beautiful Friday morning edition of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Blatania, your host, and here in the studio with us this morning, we have the ultimate Mr. George Matter. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Tom.
How's your week been?
It's been very active. It's been a real good week.
Yeah, putting your real estate legs to the test?
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you, you can't ask for a more beautiful day out in South Florida. I mean, just a high 70s right now, nice breeze, a little bit of sunshine. I can't wait to I love it when it gets just to that temperature where you can like wake up in the morning or late at night and you can go sit out on your screened-in porch and just either, down a bottle of wine or...
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than this.
Oh, no, I love it. I had recently moved to a bigger apartment that had a little bit nicer screened-in patio. And, it just makes it so nice. Just so nice to be able to sit out there. I got a new lounge chair out there, and, so I could just sit out there and play my games on my iPad and read or, I don't know, do something. So, TREU Radio, TREU Radio.com. That's the place you can go. You can actually go there right now and see us live in the studio. You can watch and listen to the show. You can also chat with us. So if you have any questions or comments, you want to talk to us about anything we're going to be talking about today or anything we've talked about in the past, you can just chat in the chat room. And, it's not going to say your name. You don't have to log in, all kinds of troublesome stuff. Just chat a question in there. We'll answer it live on the air for you. Well, if you're not as shy, then you can also call here at the studio, 772-220-9788. That's 220-9788. We got all kinds of great topics. We're going to be touching base with you on the possibility of the 60% or 67% tax increase that was possibly going to go on. George is going to give us an update on that. Some of the other things that we're going to talk about is the foreclosure market coming back? Ouch. Well, we're going to talk about that and let you know, what's happening and why that, hopefully, unfortunately, or hopefully may not be a possibility. Some of the other things we're going to do, renters out there. We found out that there's 7 main reasons why renters really don't want to become homeowners. So we're going to kind of, demyth those. I guess that's what you would say, or debunk those myths, or however you say it. So all kinds of things. And also, think that people don't have cash out there. Well, we're going to talk to you about some statistics today that show you that there's actually more money out there than we may think. And the economy, obviously, if there's that much cash out there, something's got to be going pretty decent with the economy.
Somebody's making some money.
Somebody's making, because if the money wasn't flowing like that, then I could say, okay, maybe the economy's not doing so well. But when people are putting that much cash out now, then it makes a lot of sense. So you can also follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, TREU Radio, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed on Facebook, TREU Radio on Twitter, all kinds of stuff. If you have questions, if there's ever a show that you want to have us do on a specific topic, maybe you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, George and Carol Morgan and Scott McAllister, who are actually in training classes to help better themselves, and we talk about that all the time, right, George?
Yeah, absolutely. Continuing education is a huge part of the real estate business.
Now, if you really didn't follow your continuing education much, or really didn't do a lot of training, you've been in the real estate business for how long?
13 years.
13 years. So let's say in 13 years you just kind of did enough on CEU just to get yourself by. How far along do you think you'd be in the real estate market now?
Chances are you wouldn't be in the business if you don't stay current with the things that are changing, the laws that are changing. Chances are you'll be out of it pretty quickly.
That's changing every week, every day.
Absolutely.
It's insane. I mean, when I started with it, it was just there was more classes, and that's one thing that I went wrong with is I tried to take all these classes, but I just had information overload. and it just, you struggle with that.
Yeah, you need to pick and choose what particular part of the real estate that you're going to focus on and become an expert in that particular field. You can't be a master at all
The one
aspects.
thing.
Absolutely.
The one thing, and the owner, founder of Keller Williams actually wrote that book, The One Thing, and I read that, and I tell you, it actually changed my whole business philosophy, because I was trying to do that. I was doing 2 talk radio shows, real estate. I was doing business consulting, my load and energy calc business, and then trying to do some other stuff. And my problem, just like what the book says, is people brag about multitasking. Well, if you multitask so much all the time, you're really never that efficient at any one thing. You're just kind of doing things.
You're just average at all of them. You
Exactly.
never become a master at any of them.
But focusing on just that one thing. And I tell you, the minute I read that book, I revamped my whole business. It totally changed just how my business almost doubled or tripled since that book was huge. That book was huge. So, and we have also with us, we have the lovely, you actually are beautiful today. Wow, very nice. We have Carol Morgan here coming in the studio with us from her. She took a little bit break from your training class?
Yeah.
You needed it, right?
This continuing ed's a killer.
You already look overwhelmed.
And trying to get out of town.
Oh, that's right. Because you're going away, right?
Yeah. So between continuing ed, trying to get everything done before I leave, and thank God George is going to take over when I go.
So my workload just doubled.
Your workload just doubled. Well, hey, she helped you out while she was.
Of course.
That's what's great about having a good group team or a group of people that you work with that are willing to help you out like that. This way, you don't have to just shut your business down for.
Right.
That is awesome.
Well, with computers today, we can really work when we're out of the area. We still can do a lot of our own work, and it's just the hands-on things that we need to have somebody help us with.
Yeah, so it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So, George, kind of give us an update. I know you've been following this tax thing. Give us kind of an update on what happened with that.
All right. On Monday night, the city council did have a meeting. They haven't done the final vote, but at the meeting, they were proposing a 62% tax increase for home, the property tax, and they basically discussed it and decided that they are going to keep the status quo from last year. They decided on an election year, it's probably not in their best interest to do that kind of increase, so they're going to keep it the same level, the same millage rate as last year. So I want to thank anybody that emailed or called their politicians to let them know how they felt about an increase. Yeah. So if you were involved with it, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't see it, but what I hear from what you're saying is, I'm even, I guess, more disappointed that they might have not have done it because it was an election year.
Well, very possible. They do crazy things when it's election year.
So it would have been okay if I wasn't worried about getting reelected.
That's true.
Yeah, it would have been okay for me to take 62% more of your money. But because I'm worried about you possibly reelecting me, I'll wait till after you reelect me. Then maybe I'll throw it back on the table again.
That's certainly a possibility. Actually, the one councilwoman that was strongly for it is not running for re-election this year. So maybe coincidence, maybe not.
That just, and you wonder why I don't vote.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, she's going to college, and she texts me, and they were doing the class on socialism, capitalism. And they were the teachers going through the whole stuff. And they were talking about, 15, 20 years ago, how CEOs made 40 times more than the average worker. Mm-hmm. Okay. Today, it's over 300 times more. Okay. So why?
Because they can.
Because they can, exactly.
They're the ones making the decisions on what level of compensation they get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the board of the directors. But it's insane, and that's why we start having more of this gap, this bigger gap, because we keep this person down over here, and and it's insane. There was one guy from JCPenney's or one of those companies. They gave him a $50 million severance package.
Wonder if he's single.
Oh, I love that.
And they were probably getting a severance package because they wanted to move on to somebody else to do the job
Yeah.
because they weren't performing as well as,
exactly.
as they hoped.
And
So-
they are doing a little bit better now with the change.
Yes.
Yeah, because that was just absolute crazy concept that but you got to try something, and
Yeah.
it just unfortunately it just failed. It failed too miserably.
Right.
It failed too miserably. So all kinds of great stuff. So great. That was a great update. But if anybody wants to talk about that, if anybody knows any more about that, or perhaps you were at the meeting, we'd love to hear from you. Mike, you look like you want to say something.
No, not generally.
No, not generally. Maybe it's just that mustache you're trying
Mike,
to grow.
a little quiet today?
It's not a mustache I'm trying to grow. It's just I'm too lazy to shave.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
distinct difference.
It looks like my 13-year-old son's peach fuzz that he's trying to grow.
It just refuses to grow in the middle. It's bad.
Oh, it's funny. Well, once when you hit puberty, it'll all pop in. Don't worry
I've been
about it.
telling myself that for 30 years.
All right, so don't forget, we got some other great stuff we're going to be talking about today, and we're going to go ahead and take our first quick break. And when we come back, are banks causing this housing slowdown? The foreclosure market, it's not coming back, is it? But we're going to find out why there might be some signs that it could, and also 7 reasons that renters are afraid to become homeowners. You're listening to TREU Radio, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. Carol Morgan, George Matter, Scott McAllister is out filling his brain full of knowledge. 772-220-9788. We'll be right back.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors.
Hi, I'm Carol Morgan, real estate consultant with Keller Williams Real Estate in beautiful Stuart, Florida, serving Martin, St. Lucie, and Palm Beach counties, and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed every Thursday morning on WSTU 1450 at 10 a.m. I have an extensive array of luxury waterfront and single-family homes. If you're looking to buy or sell, please call me at 772-631-1394 or go to StewartHomeListings.com.
Hi, I'm Scott McAllister, General Manager of the McAllister International Team of Keller Williams of the Treasure Coast and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed every Friday morning on WSTU at 1450 a.m. I have a full real estate team with specialists in buying, selling, land and equestrian properties, distressed homes, and luxury waterfront. Call myself or my team at 561-756-0891 or online at treasurecoasthomesonline.com.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed on this absolutely beautiful Friday morning here in South Florida. Is it gorgeous out, Carol?
It's nice.
It's like 78 degrees out.
I was walking the dogs this morning at 5:30, and you could almost feel the coolness in the air.
Yeah, I love it when it starts getting down there.
Yeah.
When it gets down a little bit closer into the lower 60s, that's when I really like it. You get to put your slippers on, go out and oh yeah.
My daughter's in Boston right now, and I talked to her last night, and she says, "Mom, it's fall up here. It's so nice and cool." I said, "Fall? What is that? We've forgotten down here."
All right, so some kind of disturbing news from Florida Realtors News is the foreclosure market. Mm-hmm. Wow, it jumped 24% in Florida last month compared to the year earlier, and versus last August, it fell 74%. Wow.
Well, I think that was a lot of inventory. They're holding a lot of inventory. They don't want to flood the market with the foreclosures.
Yeah.
Because by flooding the market with the foreclosures, you're just going to throw us into
But that's
turmoil
kind of
again.
by jumping up that kind of a percentage. Though to me, that's what it sounds. I mean, if I would have branched it out a little bit more instead of blowing up 74% one month, maybe 20% here, 20% there. But that's
Yeah, but you know what?
that's
We don't
huge.
have the inventory we had before.
Right,
So we're not flooding the market.
right,
We're just putting product back out on the market to sell.
right.
And I don't really see that. And the banks are doing better with their foreclosures than they had in the past. And
Now, are you guys seeing that locally? Are you seeing more foreclosures popping up recently? You
Yeah.
are. You
Yeah,
are.
there's absolutely a good portion of the inventory out there is the REO properties,
Okay.
and foreclosed properties.
All right. Okay, because what they were saying, according to the Realtors News, Florida Realtor, is that some of the signs have to do with banks catching up on the 2013 state law
Right.
that required them to have more specific paperwork before
Right.
filing.
Which they needed to have.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that because some of those foreclosures I heard weren't all on the up and up.
And they also expedited some of the rules, so it was easier for them to get through. And also the courts kind of streamlined their process. So the whole process of foreclosing in the past was really backlogged, and they've just kind of caught up to move it through the system.
it's the same old thing.
Yeah.
When they're almost done, they finally get it together.
Now, a lot of these foreclosures that you're seeing, are they decent foreclosures? Are you finding that there are a lot of houses that have been beat up pretty bad?
I don't know about George, but I'm seeing that the new foreclosures out there are not beat up like they were at first.
In the original, okay.
When people were going through the short sales and they were angry and the foreclosures that were on the market, they were taking cabinets out, appliances out, they were punching holes in walls. It was a mess.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing that. Are you, George?
I'm seeing all aspects. I see some that are absolutely brutalized, and on the other end of it, I see some of the lenders actually go in there and have them renovated, so they're in very good shape.
There
They
you go.
put new appliances, they get
Right.
new carpet, they paint.
They paint 'em.
So depending on the lender,
Yeah.
they're all handling it a little different, and I think it's probably smart for the lenders to invest a little bit of money in it, just because they're going to get top dollar.
Yeah,
for
that
it.
makes a lot of sense to me because if you could spend, $5,000 or $6,000 to fix up a little bit of stuff and end up getting $20,000 more,
Right.
$30,000 more $1,000.
I live in Coral Lakes, and we have some foreclosures in there, and there's one right now that's up for sale by Remax that is a Chase REO.
Okay.
And the only reason I know that is I'm on the board, so I handle all of that information for them. But they literally have gone in and redone the inside of this house.
Nice.
And they've been working on it now for about 3 to 4 months. And just the other day, did they have their first caravan come through so that it's listed? The first caravan came through to show the house for sale.
Now, let me ask you, and because of the type of community that you live in, do you think that they did that because they needed to get that value back up of the home so that they would attract different types of buyers?
Well, it's a different price break in there.
Right.
I mean, it's not a $100,000 house anymore where
Right.
they have less money to put into it. But certainly, they don't want to hurt the value of
Right.
the existing homes in that market.
So, and with the condition that it possibly was in the beginning, it could have reduced the value of the
Yeah.
home, which could have possibly brought in a
Yep.
different type of client, a different clientele.
I mean, it's an older home.
Yeah.
It is an older home in there, but they needed to update it, and
Yeah.
and the person that was in it hadn't taken very good care of it. So they fixed it up. I haven't been inside it yet, but I will go in it probably when I come back if it's not sold.
You guys ever do any work in Loblolly?
Been in there, showed
Yeah.
some properties in there.
Yeah, I did some work in there for some clients. That's a really neat.
It is a neat community.
There was one lady that I was in there for. And
Expensive.
yeah,
pricey.
yeah, but it's some of the houses I went into. I mean, one lady, they still have their butlers and they still have
Yeah.
their separate cottages and beautiful. One was beautiful. It was up on towards the back corner there. It was on stilts up off this 3-story. Just
On the
absolutely,
water.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous place. And the other one was just kind of, just absolutely beautiful. And going in these houses,
Loblolly has their own fireworks.
They do.
They do.
Oh, jeez. I heard they only. Yeah, but it's I just little communities like that. I mean, I don't know if I could ever live in something like that, but I like kind of going in and just kind of seeing how they are. But there's got to be a lot of restrictions in places like that.
Absolutely.
A lot of places. So I mean, so that's something, ladies and gentlemen, you want to keep your eye out for. Maybe, well, if you like to look at foreclosures, buy foreclosures, might be a time for you to kind of peek at that. Now, George, you were mentioning to me about kind of about the inventory, and that under a certain price range, you were struggling to find product in that area.
Yeah, I have some first-time home buyers that are looking to purchase under the $150,000 mark in Port St. Lucie in particular, and there's just not much inventory.
Just listed one for $160, short sale.
It may be something I need to pull up and take a look.
It's a beautiful home.
It's just if it's on the market and it's not beat up, it's gone pretty darn quick.
Now, why do you think that the houses under that price range are going so quickly?
A big portion of it is the rental market has gone up so substantially. There's investors that are coming in and just scooping them up, and they're getting a good return on their investment. So I think that they're stepping up, even sight unseen, are willing to put a competitive offer on it, even from anywhere in the country without even seeing the property, because they know they're going to get a good return on their.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into one of the other things that was on the Florida Realtor News, is that over half of the homes purchased were purchased with cash. So that's a lot. Like that goes back to the investors that you're talking about.
Almost 51% of the homes in Florida this year were purchased with cash.
Yes. In fact, Martin County. We just talked about that in our continuing aid yesterday, that out of our office, 50% of all of our business has been cash.
Wow. So obviously that's good for realtors. They can move through the process quicker. Unfortunately for the banks and lenders, they're not getting a portion of that, but I don't see a problem with that. I guess if I was a lender or whatnot, I would, but
there's a lot of money out there.
Yeah, there is
a lot of money out there.
Yeah, it's got to say something about what we're talking about the economy. It's got to say something about the economy, that these people are.
Well, I think there's a lot of baby boomers out there that are looking to buy now, that have money in 401k.
Yeah.
And some of those baby boomers, by the time that they're, I think it's 70 years old, they have to tap into that. So whether they hadn't taken anything out of it before, now would be a good time for them to take to buy.
Yeah.
And as we know, the 70-year-olds are now the new 60s. So.
Right.
So it's a good thing.
That's awesome. So let's do our segment Hot Around Town. So what, George, you got any hot around town? Any new listings? Any open houses? Any properties?
Actually, I got a new listing on Monday. Put it on the market, and it just flies off the.
It's gone already.
It's gone.
You put it on Monday.
Full price cash.
Wow.
Just gone.
Now what kind of home was that?
It was a 4.2 Western Port St. Lucie, and in pretty good shape. Not a short sale, not a foreclosure, and just amazing. Actually, had several offers for the same property, but ultimately the seller took a cash deal. And closing in the next week.
And what did that go? What was the value of that?
You can only tell the list price because it hasn't closed yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. No problem.
Yeah, it's listed at $155.
Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So right around that price where you're talking about, that they're going out, that they're flying out the door.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, great. Now, do you have any? You said you were looking for somebody. What are you looking for?
Actually, I have on the north end of Port St. Lucie, just south of Midway Road, have somebody that needs to get out of where they're renting because that person's selling the property.
Okay.
So they're kind of under the gun, and they're up to around the $100,000 mark.
Okay.
Also a cash buyer, and we just have not found anything. They need a minimum of 3 bedrooms, and there just has not been anything that's.
I would think that'd be tough for $100,000, 3-bedroom.
But we're even looking up to the south end of Fort Pierce, which over the beginning of the year there was plenty of them.
Yeah.
And even that market has really dried up.
Yep.
Kind of dried up.
Good luck finding that.
Yeah, I would think that, because if you find something like that, let me know. As long as it's not up in the Fort Pierce area.
Actually, on the southern end of Fort Pierce, if you're south around the Edwards Road south, it's kind of a rural area. And
yeah.
There are some nice neighborhoods down there.
Yeah.
There are some that you need to be a little bit more careful, but there's certainly some nicer ones.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Well, how about you, Ms. Carol? What's hot around town for the Morgan team?
Just been Going crazy. That's all I can say. Took the new listing off of Burlington in Port St. Lucie. It's a 322, beautiful house, nice street.
Right.
I said it's 160. I listed it at 169.9, and it is a short sale. It's not that short, so I don't think it'll take a whole lot of time to
About
process
5'10".
it. 5'10".
5'8.5".
5'8.5".
Yeah. It's not that short, so it won't take real long time to go ahead and to process that. I wouldn't imagine with Chase. And then what else is going on? I've had a lot happening this week. It's just when you're trying to get out of town, it's really hard. Had an open house last week in the Oaks. We had 7 families through. Had a great return.
Nice.
A lot of activity, a lot of interest. Have another one coming up at that same house. If it doesn't go under contract, it'll be not this Sunday, but a week from Sunday.
Okay.
And that's on Heritage Boulevard in the Oaks, if anybody's interested. Other than that, I've rented my listing in Osprey Cove. I've rented my listing at Palermo Court in Villa Bella.
Yes.
I've rented, yes, no more bothering you, George.
Thank God.
We're not quite done yet. I still have Stanley Steamer coming in, so.
Oh, too funny.
Listed the one off of Martin Crossing. That one's under contract. So it's been a busy week.
Good. How about this Foxwoods? How are the Foxwoods coming around?
I actually had a broker. I had a broker open last. What was that? Monday.
It was Monday. Yes.
Monday. We had a Monday morning broker open. It was supposed to be a brunch, which unfortunately all of the food did not come because the caterer who was delivering it was in a very bad car accident.
Ouch.
And so the chef ended up bringing some muffins and fruit over, but it was nice.
Good.
It was nice. They're good. I mean, those are specialty houses, and somebody's going to need to want to have an area like that.
Yeah, that would be tough.
I mean, because that's out in the west part of Martin County and out by South Fork High School. Somebody who wants acreage, who wants more privacy.
Equestrian too, right?
Equestrian, yeah.
Or somebody to park a boat or an RV in the garage. It has huge garage with an apartment above it. The house is fantastic. If you want to keep your boat inside, it's perfect property.
It is. It's beautiful. Nice. The house in itself is just gorgeous.
Beautiful.
All I could see would be a nice family living in there because the main house has got 5 bedrooms. So
okay.
Plus the apartment upstairs. Just a great property.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about renters. Now, are you folks seeing a lot more renters on your end coming to you? Like you were just talking about, you have a renter looking to buy a house.
Yes.
In that market. What are some of the things? The Realtor website had some information on some of the reasons, top 7 reasons why renters are kind of really standoffish about wanting to buy. But what kind of questions are you getting from your renters out there when they come to you and looking to purchase a house?
I think their biggest concern is the mobility. If they're younger and they want the ability to move around, they feel that the home ownership is going to kind of tie them down, where with their rental they can just kind of break their lease and move on.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing that comes to mind.
And I think the second thing is this cost factor. I mean, as a tenant, yes, you have a set fee that you pay every month. As a homeowner, you have a mortgage payment that you pay every month, but you also have property taxes. You also have homeowners insurance. You also have maintenance issues. So I think the cost factor there scares some of these people. And especially the renters out there who have had a home in the past and have lost it because of a short sale, for whatever reason, they're on the edge. I mean, they would like to own their own home again, but the cost is exorbitant when you own your own home.
Yeah.
Or they get gun shy just from the sour experience that they got in, and they may have had a mortgage that wasn't the right mortgage for them. It was escalating, so I think they're just a little gun shy about getting back into the home ownership.
Yeah, and that's kind of why, because I rent and I own my own house, but that's kind of one of the reasons a couple of the reasons. One of the reasons is the mobility. I haven't stayed in one place for very, very long. Same area, Port St. Lucie.
Don't let any grass grow under your feet, huh?
What's that? No, it's like Port St. Lucie, Vero. Now I'm in Stewart, but I mean, I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 or 15 years, and for me, in order for my house to be able to really show some good value for me to get a resale off of it, I would think I'd have to be in it for a good 7 to 10 years.
Well, see, unfortunately, you got caught in that down market.
Yeah. So, and then the other things that scary is, with the rent, there's a small increase each year, but usually it's a predetermined amount that you already know that it's going to happen. All the other stuff's taken care of. I don't have to worry about taxes going up, 62% tax increase, property or insurance going up, your insurance company calling you, go, oh, by the way, we got to raise your price. That offsets the rental cost.
But you have to understand, your landlord is getting those bills.
Yeah.
And if he's increasing if his debt is increasing, he's got to pass that on to you.
Right, and that's why
so
they
your
usually,
rent's go up.
and the rent, and typically, there's usually a set fee that you pretty much know every year it's going to go up a little bit. But those are some of the things like you're talking about that kind of make it a little scary. The biggest one is the mobility. Right. With the rental, I all I have to do is forfeit 1 month's rent, and you get out of your lease. So, boom, I could, if I had to move in a drop of a hat, hey, maybe you meet some girl, you want to marry her.
And I think because of the job losses that we've had in the past.
It's scary.
That's a big issue.
Yeah, it gets scary with that. So a couple things. Now, according to a realtor, some of the top things here is not enough money saved or too much debt. 55.7% of renters said that. They don't make enough money, which I don't know. It doesn't make sense because some of your mortgages now are less expensive than some of the rents. Now, of course, you tack on the taxes and all the other garbage.
But typically, their mortgages with the low interest rates, chances are, if they have the money saved, their mortgage would be still less than what they pay for rent.
Correct, and that's 52.7%. Credit isn't good enough. Now, what are some of the credit scores that you start seeing where they have an issue? What is it? We're at
below 620.
620 you will not get.
You will not get a loan 620. So now or below 620. Now at 620, you can get a loan, but you're going to pay much higher interest rate.
They're going to hit the rate.
They're going to hit the rate. Okay. What kind of rates are you seeing for people like that? In the 7s, 8s, or not that?
Oh, no.
No, not that high.
No, I would say that depending on what their credit is. If they've been on time with their credit, and it's just because they've got too much credit that brings their score down, you may be looking at 5.
Oh, okay. So it's not going up
It's
that
not
much.
substantial, no.
Not that much. So it's either you're going to get a loan and you get a fairly
hit.
decent rate, or you're just not going to get it at all.
Right.
Okay. And that's probably some of the tightness.
Now, certainly if you go with your non-conforming lenders, you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
Not 7-8, you'll probably get hit at 12.
Oh, wow. Okay. So like your standard FHAs and stuff like that you're talking about?
No, these are private investors.
No, I meant for just the regular interest rate.
Yeah.
The standard would be like your normal FHA loan or your standard. Okay.
Conventional.
I think FHA, I just heard the other day, was still like at 4 1/8.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. And then they're still right around the 620 and okay.
Absolutely.
So that's good. So so if you're between a 620 and a 660, where there's actually quite a few people that are in that range,
they are.
Because they're not they're not horrible, but they've just struggled with a couple bills and.
And I think what the funny thing is, I don't know about George, but what I find out and I find very interesting is people really don't know what kind of a credit score they have.
Yep.
And you can go online and get a free credit report today.
Yeah, free credit report, creditkarma.com, all those different
it.
places. Yeah.
So, it's in your best interest to maybe every once a year or at least run your credit report to find out, make sure nobody has hit your credit that will hurt you, and just to keep an eye on what you have.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This way you do know, because a lot of people go into it with an assumption that maybe because they missed some payments or they had a problem, that their credit's a lot worse than it is.
Right.
So that right there would debunk that. And that's actually 41.4%. Now the other ones are don't want the upkeep that comes with homeownership. You talked about that. That's a 28.6%. I hate the maintenance, but see, I'm off and on. I'll wake up one morning and go a whole month where I just want to do everything to the house. I did that at the house that I had. I woke up one morning and said, I'm going to build a shed. And I studied, I bought books, and I have a little bit of background and experience. I built a 12 by 12 shed that looked just like the house. I did the roof, I did the shingles, I built it. I put concrete pillars in the ground. This thing wasn't going nowhere. But then I didn't want to do nothing in the house for like another 6-8 months.
I was going to say, if you do a little maintenance all the time, Tom, it's just not as much of a chore. But if you do a 2-week project, then by the time you're done with it, it's
exactly.
So I understand that.
And I do like yard maintenance, mulch, and then for like 3 or 4 months, I'd be like, man, I hate doing that. I don't want to do it anymore. Then I would just get a bug one day, and I'd wake up and I'd pull plants and flowers. But I'm the kind of person that I don't want to have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do it because I want to do it. And I guess that's my struggle with that. So don't want to be tied down, as you were saying, George. Don't want to be tied down to a certain area. 24.1% of the people polled. Renting is more affordable than buying, 23.6%. And don't want to tie money up in a house. And that's kind of something for me. 18.7% said that you know, we did a thing on here, and I was actually pretty gentle on Andrew because obviously the show is about buying, selling, and investing in real
Absolutely.
estate. But I mean, I just, you know, you run the numbers and stuff like that. It's tough when you're investing that kind of money and that you put it in a house. But you just have to find the right deal. You have to find the right home. One of the things for me that causes me to want to look at buying a house now is not having to listen to the rules and regulations. I mean, because being in an apartment is like being in an HOA.
Well,
Maybe worse.
Or worse.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That means if you're going to buy a house, you don't want to buy a house in an HOA.
Exactly. You know, you get this letter on your door. You know, you got to make sure you put your trash out at a certain time of day. Okay, well, you know what? It's not me. It's the 3 other people that were around me that left their trash out on Memorial Day weekend for 5 days.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, and the whole hallway upstairs it looked like a, you know, downtown New York City under the bridge. So it's just stuff like that just irks me, that says, okay, no, you know, I don't want to have to conform because everybody else is the bad apple.
Right.
By having your own house, you know, turning your stereo system up. You know, you want to learn to play the guitar? Great. Crank up that amplifier and just rock out, you know. Not have to worry about the guy downstairs.
You certainly have some rules in your own house, but you certainly have a lot more leeway.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break here and listen to some of our sponsors. And you're listening to TREU Radio, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, with George Matter, Carol Morgan. I'm Tom Platini, your host. Scott McAllister, he's out training. Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah, that's the ticket. 772-220-9788. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Scott McAllister, General Manager of the McAllister International Team of Keller Williams of the Treasure Coast and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, every Friday morning on WSTU at 1450 a.m. I have a full real estate team with specialists in buying, selling, land and equestrian properties, distressed homes, and luxury waterfront. Call myself or my team at 561-756-0891 or online at treasurecoasthomesonline.com.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors.
Hi, I'm Carol Morgan, real estate consultant with Keller Williams Real Estate in beautiful Stuart, Florida, serving Martin, St. Lucie, and Palm Beach counties, and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed every Thursday morning on WSTU 1450 at 10 a.m. I have an extensive array of luxury waterfront and single-family homes. If you're looking to buy or sell, please call me at 772-631-1394 or go to StewartHomeListings.com.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, TREU Radio. I'm Tom Platini, your host, with Carol Morgan, George Matter, Scott McAllister. Now I thought Scott was out doing some training. No, however, I just received some information.
He's training that right hand of his.
Weightlifting.
And chugging, drinking. So I guess Scott's out at a convention for one of his many hobbies that he has. So I thought he was out. That was the good thing to say, but he's out having a good time. So he deserved it. He worked hard while his mom was away, kind of pulling double duty. So he kind of earned that. So also one of the things that we're finding on Realtor, is that they say, are the banks causing the housing slowdown? Do you guys see that? Are you finding a little bit more of a struggle with having difficulty with people getting mortgages? I see you kind of shaking your head a little bit there.
They certainly make it very challenging. I think part of it that we talked about, that people they have the money, they're just doing cash because they don't want to jump through the hoops that the banks are requiring.
Now, do you think that they're going overboard now because of all the problems, or is that the actual guidelines? And
no, I think they're back to where they originally were at one time.
Okay.
I mean, I've been in the mortgage business for more years than I'd like to count. Back in the day, years ago, if you had ratios of 28:36 and below, you'd qualify for a mortgage. There was none of this.
Now, explain ratios.
Ratio it's your debt income. So your mortgage payment can only be 28% of your net income, and your combined debt can only be 36%.
Okay, so I can get a house for $200 a month.
It gave you residual. It gave you residual income that you still had money out there to go ahead and to do all the extra things that you needed to do, and you wouldn't strap you. Today, they're taking ratios. I've seen them even go up to 48% as of late.
Oh, wow.
And, when you take 48% of your income just for a mortgage payment. It's huge. It's huge. So, in my estimation, I think they should tighten it back even a little bit more.
Yeah.
And put it back to the reality of bringing this country back into shape, saying, you know what, the me generation, you can't have it all today.
Yeah.
You have to work for it. You have to save for it. We need to learn how to save. We need to know that our credit is an important factor in our lives, and you have to have good credit in order to buy.
Yeah, because I see that raising that number. I see that putting us right back into the situation where we could end up being.
I mean, we got into such trouble with the no-income verification loans, because I called it the liar's loan. We were taking ratios with the automated underwriting. We were taking ratios way over 50%. And that got caught up. I mean, that balloon it had to bust.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It just had to bust.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you think about it, with life doesn't stay the same. Yeah, you got a set salary, you got a paycheck, but you know what? You might have something happen. You might have to take a couple days off where your income gets cut just a little bit. Maybe the kids get sick, and you got to put some money out of pocket.
Right. Your wife gets pregnant.
Exactly.
She's out of work for a period of time.
It wasn't me. No.
But you know something about it.
But even if it's as small as you have children and your children want to participate in sports.
Yeah.
Well, years ago, the sports were paid for by the sporting authority, either through the schools or wherever.
Yep.
Today, you have to pay for all of that. It's very expensive, and God forbid should your kids get into hockey, because that's just one very expensive sport. But somebody's got to pay for that.
Yeah.
And those are things that you don't think about when you're having babies and you're buying houses. Yeah. As they get older, there's more activities and stuff that they want to do. That's all costly. That has to factor into your budget.
Yeah, I think it's smart. I think it would be smarter if they stayed down. I think you would have less possibility of foreclosures and short sales.
Well, you know what I think would happen is with the me generation, they want what mom and dad have now, not what mom and dad started out at. And so if your mom and dad live in a $350,000 house, these kids today think that's how they should live. They want granite, they want stainless steel appliances, they want 3-car garages, they want. Well, you know what? Maybe they need to go back to the $150,000 house and have a starter home and start there.
Swallow their ego.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, but also I think the mentality is with Americans is with credit cards. Years ago, people didn't have a pocket full of credit cards. Now, everybody has 4 or 5 credit cards, and it's easy to spend the money.
Yeah,
so they have a big percentage of their debt is on credit cards, and 30 years ago, that was probably a very small fraction of it. So Americans spend the money before they have the money.
Yeah.
So I think the banks were forced to raise the percentages up just to have some clients to sell homes to.
Yep, that makes sense. Yep, that makes sense from a point of view like that. Now, in July, J.P. Morgan Chase and company and CEO Jamie Dimon said that the bank's volume of loans insured by the Federal Housing Administration was actually way down for the year. So now, how does that work with the bank loans that are being insured? Are you familiar with that process? Or
The bank loans that are being what, the short sales?
yeah, well, it just says the bank's volume of loans insured by the Federal
Oh,
Housing.
insured.
Yeah, insured by the Federal Housing Administration.
Well, majority of your loans out there today are insured.
Okay.
They're insured for 70%.
Okay.
And that's a 70% error factor or margin for the bank.
Okay.
So if a loan defaults, that loan has 70% of MI on it paid for by the bank, and it's built into their premiums.
Okay.
So they're all insured by them. Now, the MI that a homeowner pays for, which is your mortgage insurance, is if you have less than 20% to put down.
Okay.
So it's kind of like it's a double insuring thing. The bank is insuring the FDIC, or not FDIC, but Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac is insuring on the bank side, where the MI companies are insuring on the bank side for the buyer.
Okay.
So that's like when these short sales fell. Most of these loans out there, when the short sales fell, had 70% insurance on them. The banks didn't lose. They didn't lose. They got 70% of their money. It was insured. So it's all in a numbers game.
Yeah.
They look at, okay, it's insured for 70%. I have a mortgage of $200,000 and it's insured for 70%. So the net outcome of that would be 30% of it would be about $60,000. $60,000 is not covered, but the bank is still going to sell that house.
Okay.
For the appraised value of that home. Now, if that appraised value of that home, say, was not $200,000 now, but it was only $150,000, and the bank still had an outlay of $60,000, that means that they still were getting extra money in their pocket.
And if there was
Now-
mortgage insurance, there was protection on that
Yeah.
end of that.
Okay.
Also, so cry me a river, guys. You know, I worked for the bank, so I know
So
a lot
you know
of that.
yeah,
So
you know what's going on.
those
with that.
banks are making more money today, hand over fist, than you can ever even imagine.
Well, it's that you watch a lot of these documentaries and whatnot. You know, it's like the bankers rule the world.
Yeah, they do.
The
They do.
bankers rule the world. I mean, you watch these documentaries on how when they were making decisions for things during either the recessions or different things like that, they sat down with the bankers to make the decisions. I mean, the presidents and the people who are supposed to be in highest power are sitting down and actually taking direction from the bankers.
They are.
The people with the money.
Yeah,
Or control
That's
of
it.
the money.
The money,
Yeah,
control,
they
money,
control money.
money controls everything in the United States.
Yeah.
I don't know about the world, but you know, I think fear in other states, in other countries, and whatnot, I think fear rules more than money in some areas. But obviously, the people who are providing the more fear actually have the most money anyway. But-
Exactly. It's one and the same.
Exactly, one and the same. Exactly. So once again, that's why I don't vote.
Yeah. So yeah, the banking industry is it's an interesting. I mean, I was in it when the savings and loan fell,
Yeah.
and I can still remember the day that the feds came in and took over.
Wow.
It was very interesting.
So what other kind of stuff are you guys seeing out there with clients? I mean, what are the people this past week or so? What have they been asking for? What kind of things have they been? What areas have you noticed or have been hotter than others, as far as people wanting to? I want to go in that area. I want to go in this area.
The tradition area,
Tradition,
I've
okay.
worked a lot out there this
Okay,
week.
out in West. That's out in Westport, St. Lucie.
Lucie.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful little area, though.
It is, and also some new construction. All the builders are back to building out there,
Yes.
so you get a combination of the resales and the new construction. And
Well, there was so much property area out there that
there
they
still
started,
is, there's still a lot.
and now so there's plenty of room to build.
Yeah.
absolutely,
I mean, there was just dead end cul-de-sacs that you went, and there was nothing on them.
It's exciting to see the new construction started.
really is.
It is. I love it, especially for my business.
Yeah, for your business,
it is.
it's great. But for
Oh,
our
I
business,
love it.
it's good.
Yeah, for
I
both
mean-
businesses. Yeah.
I mean, I'm that kind of a person that I would rather buy a new build than an existing, and I've done both.
Right.
It's easier to have a new build than it is to have a remodel.
and your insurance costs with the regulations are so strict on the new construction. Your insurance costs are just incredibly low.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, they are.
They are.
It's just ridiculous.
So it makes a lot more sense. I mean, you might save yourself some money by having one built versus.
Well, it's not cost effective to. I mean, if you're looking dollar for dollar, you still can buy an existing house cheaper than you can buy a new build,
Okay.
and that's only because of the cost of supplies.
Okay.
labor and supplies.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But your insurance cost over the long period of time is going to be
Much less
It's
because of
incredible.
all the new building codes and regulations and things like, especially probably insurance, right?
yes.
Yeah, insurance would probably be a lot less. I can imagine, because you wouldn't have to worry about the wind mitigation codes or laws or any of that stuff, or the
just everything. It's not just the wind mitigation. It's just everything how they're structurally built.
Yeah, and I think with the hurricane shutters, I think they're like mandatory now, aren't they?
They are in Martin County. Yeah, they are.
The mandatory.
And
all of Florida,
Florida,
all of Florida.
Yeah.
And a lot of these houses I'm noticing are coming with they're putting impact windows. And just about it. And you actually get a nice little credit on the energy conservation code. You get a nice little credit for the window. By putting it impact that I've noticed.
The insurance companies love the impact. For one thing, you may have hurricane shutters and they're stacked up in the corner of your garage. But say if this resident is here half the year and up in New York half the year, we get a hurricane, he may not be able to get somebody down here to install them. It doesn't help you a lot stacked in the corner of your garage. If they're impact windows, that house is protected, and it's protecting the homeowner and the insurance company.
I also see a lot of commercial new construction that I've been working on. Actually, a couple Indian River counties got a couple medical offices with CAT scan units going in. I've done a bunch of new commercial, and I would probably say recently 70% of the new jobs that I've gotten in have been commercial lately. So a lot of new construction, a lot of big renovations too, huge renovations.
Well, and even the vacant commercial property out there that you're seeing today is now being rented. Yeah, which is encouraging. So.
And then they're making the renovations. You know, like I just did an Army Corps of Engineers place down in West Palm, and they were completely gutting and re-renovating it, and it was a lab for all kinds of cool stuff. So that's kind of some neat stuff out there. So. Well, great. Well, listen, I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. If you had any questions or comments about any of the topics, you can contact the realtors directly at 772-440-2590. And you can leave a message there. They'll get right back to you. But thank you for listening. Carol, thank you for stopping in. I know you had a busy day.
See you next
George,
week.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom.
And to end the show, as we know, with Zig Ziglar, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. You will get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Thank you for listening to TREU Radio, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. Have an absolutely wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here next Friday on TREU Radio.